Salutations, fam. This is Dark Slayer Arim, and yeah, I'm going to be going over quite a lot in this video and the following videos. Yeah, in the last like maybe 7 days or so, I have been to 4 tournaments. I went to an OTS local. I went to 2 OTS locals. I went to the regional this past Sunday, and I went to another OTS local yesterday. Well, actually not yesterday, the day before yesterday. But yeah. So at the tournament I went to on Thursday, I ran into a top YCS player, and so that was interesting. Got to see a bit more of what I was already coming to expect for the regional, but just just getting that last little bit of practice in before the regional. I played against Mystic Mind like I always do. One day, actually no, I finally had a tournament where I didn't play against Mystic Mind, but yeah, I played against Mystic Mind again, and it was probably the most grindy, draining set I've ever played against Mystic Mind. Cause we both weren't doing anything. So literally in so game 1, I won the die roll. I went first. You know how it goes. Game 2, Mystic Mind was active, and literally it was just draw, pass, draw, pass, draw, pass for like 30 turns, and my Twin Twisters was in the last 3 cards of my deck. So I finally pulled it. And I activated so here's how it went. I activated Imperial Order and then chained Twin Twisters to the Imperial Order to target his back row. And so also he had there can only be one, he had summon limit. But basically over the course of the game I was able to hit him with a blue eyes for 3k damage. So he still had a little bit of life left. But Imperial Order, Twin Twisters, I targeted 2 face downs. And then he chains a second there can only be one. And so basically back row gets popped. No, actually no. So he chained something, and then I chained my copy of Red Reboot to his other chain, so couldn't activate anything else. Other back row was popped, and there can only be one. Summon limiter still there. Necro Valley is negated by Imperial Order. And then because keep in mind, at this point, I've got my entire deck in my graveyard. So I summoned Blackluster Soldier, Envoy at the beginning, and Chaos Dragon Legionnaire. And it was hilarious because I'm running BLS as a budget option, and it was really funny that budget thing ended up enabling me to win that game because I was under summon limit, so I could only summon 2 times, and there can only be one. I can only have one of each type. So I summon Chaos Dragon Legionnaire and Blackluster Soldier, a Dragon and Warrior, and we just swing for game. And so I won that. I fought Pendulums, and see that's one of the things I still feel like I need to get way more experience in is the Pendulum matchup, because I don't really know how it works. I just kind of do things and hope it works, and so far it's worked out. I had Ash Blossom to stop the Dragon Shrine, and then I effect Veilered the Electromite. And then, Dragon Link thing happened, and so he died. And then, then he also bricked, and it was oh no. And let me see. So those were the highlights of the OTS local, the first OTS local on Thursday. And then on, what else happened? Oh, I ended up getting rarity bumps for a lot of my cards in my deck, because Scar Chop, they had some stuff I wanted. I think I also ended up getting, I got Lambda, that's what it was. I ended up getting my copy of Lambda. Let me open up this here deck box. It'll probably be easier if I just look through everything. Alrighty, let me see what I got. Oh, I got Hieratic Seal, that's what it was. I got Hieratic Seal. And I got Lambda at the event. I got rarity bumps for a couple of things in my main deck. And that's basically what happened at that local. And then bookend the other local that I go to. I ran into, there was a Blue Eyes player. It wasn't really like super competitive because there weren't really the, you know, the usuals. But, you know, there were some players there. There was another player playing Blue Eyes, and I was like, all right, I'm rooting for you. And, like, I ended up giving him, like, a bunch of cards to, like, help his strategy because, you know, I know how Blue Eyes works. And there was, like, a Dark Magician player. And, and then, like, after the tournament, we played, like, this weird tag duel, like, super anime tag duel. And I stacked it, like, super, super hard against myself, and it was the funniest thing. Because basically how it worked, it was like the two of them would team up. They each had their own field, their own hands, and both of them could do whatever, you know, as you would normally be able to do. So it was like 10 card hand versus me. And somehow I was still able to win a game in that like ridiculously stacked scenario. And also like they could each use like each other's field. So it's like, it was crazy. What else happened? Oh, and like the Blue Eyes player ended up giving me a copy of number 38. And I was super, super hyped because that was like one of the last things that I needed. And, you know, and then, you know, that was Saturday. Sunday. So Sunday was the regional. Boy, that was an experience to say the least. Man, so I've spent the last like maybe month or so getting ready for Sky Strikers, getting ready for Orcus, getting ready for Salamangreats, Mystic Mine unintentionally because I fought it so many times, Altergeist. But you want to know what I fought in the regional? Like all day? Thunder Dragons. I fought nothing but Thunder Dragons. Like obviously there were other decks that I played, but it was just so much Thunder Dragons. And I got super polyed so many times. Like I was ready to get Nibiru'd. I was ready for like everything, but it was just Thunder Dragons and super poly. And I was just like, oh my god, can we stop, please? It was basically like Thunder Dragons and anti-meta stuff. And then like another deck that I saw like a surprisingly high amount of was Heroes. I was not expecting to see that much Heroes representation. I ran into a lot of my friends from the good old Yu-Gi-Oh days from back when I used to compete. Saw my good buddy Flea. He's an Infernity player, and it was pretty good. I unfortunately was not able to top, but you know I had a good time. Let me see, what were the issues that I know? Oh, that was probably the main thing was like, Super Poly was a lot more prevalent than I expected to be. Because I was expecting like Nibiru, but I wasn't really expecting Super Poly to be as prevalent as it was. Yeah, Thunder Dragons, they were super, super common. I saw a lot of Thunder Dragons. What are some other things that, so like some of the old school Yu-Gi-Oh instincts like came back in the middle of the event. Because as I was like playing in the event and like being in that level of an environment again, it's just like all the old like strats started coming back. Because I remember like in one game I like chain blocked somebody, and I'm gonna be honest, like I forgot that was a thing that I could do until it became relevant and I did it, and I was like, yo, what's happening? I was like, the Pharaoh is starting to like come back, and it was super fun. Yeah, what else happened? So, like, obviously, between a lot of the rarity bumps, I also ended up finally getting my hands on some Dragon Shield sleeves. They are absolutely amazing. They make all the cards, like, they make the cards, like, really pretty to look at, like, through the sleeves. So it's like, I'm not sure if it'll, like, translate well into the camera, but it's just, I love the way the cards look in the sleeves, and it's like, Prismatic Secret Rose looks so, so nice. What's another thing that happened over the course of the event? Oh yeah, let me tell you about my dice rolls. 3 or 6, nothing but. Every single time I rolled a die, it was either 3 or 6. It was so prevalent to the point that like somebody thought I was using loaded die, and so like I would get like other dice and it would just be 3 or 6. And then, like, you know, I used somebody else's die. It was just 3 or 6. And another thing that ended up happening, I was able to get a copy of Borreload Savage Dragon because, you know, they had vendors there, so that was really fun. Obviously, I wasn't able to use it in my deck list because, you know, I didn't have it until, you know, the event. What was I going to say? Trying to think if there's anything else, like, notable that happened. Kind of covered everything. Oh, wait. Hold up. Let me put this back. Like, there were so many trades that, like, I did a lot of trades, like sold a lot of cards to vendors and such. So, like, my binder, like, by the end of that event, they had cleaned out my binder. It was pretty crazy. I've since, like, restocked it with, like, you know, other cards, but it's like, they really did. They did, like, they just went through my binder, and it's just like, I got cleaned out. Oh, another thing that happened at the event, like, I had a panic attack because, okay, so over the course of the event, I was just like super conscious of like my cards, my deck, etc., etc. Like, I had my bag, and basically, like, anytime I sat down my bag, I had it like wrapped around my leg and such. So I was super hyper conscious of somebody potentially trying to take my card and just, you know, that, because that was another thing. I was like, I went to the event by myself. It's like I ended up seeing, you know, people I knew at the event, but like I actually went to the event by myself. What else happened? Oh yeah, so while I was registering, you know, I had them look up my Kasi ID, and so he told me to like save it as a contact in my phone. And so like while I was registering, I like set my phone on the table. And, you know, like, when I finished registering, I was ready to, like, you know, turn my stuff in. And I was like, I realized I couldn't find my phone. And, yeah, it was just, you know, I started freaking out. I was like, did I put it in my deck box accidentally? Because, like, for one, like, my phone is always in one of two places. It's either in my hand or in my pocket. And it was at that point that I realized that, you know, my phone was not with me anymore. And so, like, I freaked out because phone's kind of important, you know. It's how I get to events because, you know, GPS, and it's how I like get home, and, you know, Ubers, and a lot of my information. I have a lot of unrecoverable information on my phone, and it's like I do have like backups and everything, but it's like there's only so much I can do without my phone. And so, like, I was freaking out. And so, like, ultimately, I was able to get my phone back. And so, like, that was nice. And I was super frazzled for, like, the rest of the event. Well, not the rest of the event, for, like, a very large portion of the event after that point. But, yeah, it's like, overall, I did end up having a good time. Seeing old friends again was really nice. Playing against new players, that's always nice. I feel like I should mention this. So, like, the one player that, like, the player that I lost to, right? So I ended up seeing him again at the tournament I went to the day after that on the OTS local on Monday. I ran into him again, and so, like, you know, when we ended up fighting in the bracket, and like he was like, no, we're using my die this time, and he gave me his die to roll, and once again it was nothing but 3 or 6, and he was like, okay, you're actually just cursed. And like that match in particular was one of the most stressful matches I've played in my life. It was game 3, right? And like, okay, so game one was very, very quick. Cause like, you know, I went first, Dragon Link things happened, and then like, you know, next he went second. And so like, you know, he made sure to like not let me, you know, go first, cause he figured out what happens when I go first, because at the regional I actually just bricked twice. So he didn't get to see what my deck did, but I felt really good getting that kind of redemption. But basically by the end of game 2, essentially we had like no time left. Like time, it was basically time in the round. Like I think we had like 2 minutes left by the start of the 3rd game, and so it was like end of match procedures, and so we basically had 4 turns to finish that duel. And it was like 4 turns, and then first to damage or whatever. And then like, he went first, and then like I went second, and I think I made Boral Sword. I was about to enter battle to like just, you know, attack for game. And then he Nibiru'd me, and I was like, oh no. Except it was fine because, you know, I had the Legionnaire in my hand, but I decided not to summon it, even though, like, if I summoned it and I attacked with Borosword and Legionnaire, that would have definitely been game, but I opted not to summon the Legionnaire because I was scared of Super Poly. And, hilarious enough, that ended up saving me because, like, he Nibiru'd me, and then I was like, oh, cool. Well, now I summon Legionnaire, you know? And then, like, instead of, like, attacking, you know, the Nibiru, I opted to just go ahead and, you know, rip a card out of his hand because I wouldn't have been able to kill him that turn anyway. And then, like, basically, like, okay, so, you know, so here's the thing. He had Shaddoll Fusion in his hand. That was the card I ripped out of his hand. He shuffled his deck and then drew it back for turn. I was a little bit a bit salty. But basically, like, it just became hand traps. And then, like, you know, I kept kaijuing his boss monsters. And then, but basically what happened was, he killed my Legionnaire, but he left the Nibiru token on the field. He switched his monsters to defense. Like, okay, he switched his monster to defense, and what ended up happening was I drew a kaiju, I tributed off the Nibiru token. You know, Gamma was an attack, and I switched the Nibiru token to attack, and I attacked, and I won because it was first damage. And bro, let me tell you, I was terrified. I was just super shook. And then, and that was actually the match that, like, I won that match, and then the next match was to play for top 4. And it was just, like, so many packs that were on the line, and I was shook. So game 1, you know, he made me go first, and I was like, oh, okay. And then Dragon Link things happened, and then game 2, you know, he went first, and, you know, I was shook, to say the least. Like, I acknowledge that, like, I definitely did not play that nearly as well as I could have, because I had, like, Effect Veiler and Ash in my hand, and for some reason I didn't Ash the Artifact Sanctum, you know, I didn't Ash that, and then, like, that was, like, one bit bad misplay, and then there was, like, a situation where he had, like, because he was playing Cyber Dragons, and, like, I didn't read the Cyber Dragon Link monster that can double its attack. Because, like, I had Effect Veiler in my hand, and, like, you know, he swung over my monster, and it's like, I could have Effect Veiler to stop it from doing that, and then, like, killed him with Blue Eyes. Oh, another thing that happened at that tournament, that was a highlight. I actually tribute summoned Blue Eyes White Dragon. It was the funniest thing ever. So basically, like, I got, like, hit by, Impermanence. I got shut down, and so I just, like, I guess I'm gonna tribute off these 2 monsters to normal summon Blue Eyes and swing over the Sky Striker Ace, and it was super funny. And then, like, and then it was so funny because he couldn't Widow Anchor the Blue Eyes because it was a normal monster, and it was super funny. Another thing that happened, right? So I think I posted the clip of this on my Twitter. I was playing against Lunalight Orcus. And then I got hit, like, by, like, Trish, and he banished my Ib from my extra deck. He summoned Thunder Dragon, Colossus. He had IP, and I was just like, I actually cannot beat this. I can't beat this. And then I was like, okay, what's the situation? So I had, like, a Kaiju in my hand already. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna Kaiju the Masquerena, so you can't, like, do anything with that. And then I was just like, okay, I still got to deal with this Colossus because I can't play while this Colossus is on the field. And so, like, I think I activated, like, Foolish Burial, and I milled the Galactic Spiral Dragon. And then I was like, okay, what can I do next? And then I normal summoned the Draconet, and I was just banking really hard. I was like, well, if this goes through, I might be able to do something. If not, I'm just out of luck. But, like, you know, it was able to go through. I special summoned Galaxy Serpent, and then I activated Trade-In, and it came down to what those 2 draws were. And then I drew into Dark Ruler No More, and I was like, yes! And so I was able to win that match. But yeah, those are basically how the last several days of tournaments have gone for me.